Hello, ladies. This is Caroline, and I'm here talking about a layout called March. And last year, I started doing these pages where every month I would just pull out a couple of my favorite Instagram shots and compile them into just a little page. No journaling, no any explanation really whatsoever. Some of these photos have been scrapbooked on their own. Most of them are the ones that wouldn't necessarily end up on a page, but I still like and want to showcase. So I got behind. I did really well for 3 months and then apparently petered off. But I like the concept, and it seems a shame to let Instagram photos that are fun and funny just kind of wither on the phone. And so I'm going through and trying to make use of them. So this March shape is from the Silhouette Studio online store, and I've cut it out using Silhouette's corrugated cardstock. And Silhouette, if you're listening, I wish this were not adhesive backed because I really don't want it to be adhesive backed. I don't find that to be helpful, and frankly, it's hard to get it off the mat. So if you're listening, I love the corrugated paper, just take it off the adhesive. So last March, I was student teaching at a high school in the area, and I was doing Algebra 2 and Algebra 1, and then a class called Integrated 3, which is kind of a remedial, although we don't say remedial, right? We just call it Integrated 3, but it's just a slower version of Algebra 2, um, where the kids get more time to learn the concepts. Oh, by the way, I don't usually scrapbook with the radio on, and I had the radio on, so when my hands do weird stuff, I'm actually dancing and forgetting that I'm videotaping it. So, yeah. Um, so the background on the top underneath is this really fabulous Bo Bunny math paper that I just want to go buy 100 sheets of because I think it's so fantastic. Um, but I'm not going to. That's not my budget. So that's what's going on there. And for the word March, I've chosen to use green because, St. Patrick's Day. And then more snowy, blowy blues and snowflakes because that's what March is around here. Like all the way to the bitter end, I have snow pictures on my phone. And I love snow. So, like, I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining. It's just I feel like I can use snowflakes from mid-November until mid-April, and frankly, I will. So I at this point I'm using a Shamrock. I've got 8 pictures, and oh my word, can I just tell you what a nightmare it was to get them printed. So I used to work at a camera store, and as such, I may have some equipment and probably more equipment than I should have. But anyway, I have a PictureMate charm that I really love for the most part. Oh, this is one someone commented about the Scotch dry adhesive, and she said you can get these fine tipped uh, glue bottles or bottles and Amazon, and she gave me a link, and I thought, I don't want to. But I bought them, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of cool. Although there's also another video on YouTube where a woman uses silicone baby bottle nipples over her all of her different liquid adhesives, and because it's silicone, the glue doesn't harden up in there, and she doesn't put a cap on it or anything. And when she goes to use it, she just kind of flicks off the little glue bead that sits on top of it that forms on the top, and it goes. And it's a nice fine line that it puts out. So I will try to put a. So I don't like doing links in the video notes because it's actually really a pain in the neck. So what I'll do is on the blog post that goes with this video. So you'll have to go over to my blog, but I'll put a link there. And while you're there, go ahead and click on an ad just because I'll get 4 cents. And that's how I'll get rich in life is by people clicking ads. 4 cents a pop. Woohoo! Not really. Anyway, so I've cut out a heart, and this is that glue dispenser. Look at it. It's tiny. It's just this little teeny tiny metal thing. And then the top has this pin that you stick in it so it keeps it from clogging up. It's just really incredible, actually. So uh, anyway, I've not even been paying attention to what's going on, and I've totally lost my train of thought. So I will put a link for the glue bottles. Is that what I was talking about? Yeah, I'll totally put a link for the glue bottles there. And no, I was talking about the video for the silicone nipples. I will put that on there as well. So both the bottles and that I'm using and the silicone nipple video, which is kind of revolutionary if you haven't seen it already. So let's see. Talked about the blues and greens in the title, the math paper. Having spent the month with a bunch of teenagers, I thought that the social media thought bubbles were pretty funny because that was pretty much my life, was telling 17-year-olds to put away their phones. So yeah, there's that. And so I decide I don't like that you can see like the thought bubble down pointy things. So I go through and I kind of cut around the top. And I think this is going to solve my problems, and it's going to look fun and funky and cool and stuff. And I put it down, and the funny thing is I don't like the way that looks. Or at least I didn't like the way it looked in real life. And then when I looked at it on the video, I went, actually, I kind of dig that. But the funny thing is the entire strip gets covered up anyway. Spoiler alert, so it doesn't matter. So I didn't like the way I trimmed around it, so I cut another one so that the little things would be at the bottom, because I figured, well, that'll be easy for me to cover up with, whether it's photos or embellishments or whatever. I can strategically place stuff there. So, but the funny thing is I don't end up, like I said, you can see the very, very ends of it, and that's it. So let's see. Pictures are from top left. That's an American flag in one of the classrooms that I student taught in. Like you can't really take pictures of students, and I'm not going to hand my phone over and go, take a picture of me teaching. So I ended up taking like weird pictures to remember things by. So the American flag, I would go make copies on Sundays to get ready for the week. And so that's the picture of me going out on a Sunday, and it was really snowy. Like, even though my boots are only a little covered in snow in that picture, it was really snowy that day, but there was not enough snow for a snow day, which was really unfortunate because, yeah, I really like the snow days, as it turns out. The next picture is Carrie cleaning off the car. That was a fun day. We went to Texas Roadhouse for a really rare dinner and had a great time, and there was this sweet little old lady sitting in the vestibule waiting for her boyfriend to bring the car around. The one in the middle is a stack of tests and other things that I had to grade. And I just sat down one Friday afternoon when I came home from school, and I just went, oh my gosh, this is so huge. And I just put the soda can and the pen on there to kind of put it in perspective as to how much this was. A snow picture. When I look out my kitchen window, there's a stunning view of a parking lot, but it is in the wintertime, it's really pretty to watch the tracks accumulate. I do like it a lot. Next one down, we went to a local restaurant called The Melt. It's been on like diners, drive-ins, and dives, and one or two like that food challenge show where you eat 1,000,000 pounds of whatever and you get a t-shirt. It's been on a couple of television shows, and we have one in our town, and we all really love it. And they're when you go in, when you wait for a table, they give you a little sticker that you can put on your shirt or whatever, and they had television characters on the night that we went, and we got Dr. Evil. So Molly is holding up the Dr. Evil sign to get us to our spot. And then the bottom middle is my son was doing a lift-a-thon for his football team, which, holy guacamole, like I thought this would be the most boring event on the face of the planet, watching kids lift weights, but it was so much fun, and I can't believe I didn't take my real camera. That I can't even scrapbook this picture, because if I printed it any larger than that, it would look horrible. It already is really soft and fuzzy and blurry and out of focus at 2x2. If I printed it any larger than that, it would just look awful. But it was such a fun event, and I screamed so much, like supporting these kids, because they're lifting increasing amounts of weights as they go, and they're doing different types of weightlifting, and they're raising money for this. It was just a lot of fun. And then the last one, we have a BurgerFi, and that's a burger from BurgerFi, and they brand the bun, and it's tasty and yummy. So those are the pictures. There's anything here that's like earth-shattering that needs to be documented. The things that needed to be documented for the month pretty much are. So yeah, I feel like I've taken care of the memory keeping aspect. This is just kind of summing up the month as a whole. It's just a lot of work and snow and food and stuff. So yeah, there's that. So I only had the 8 pictures, and to fill up the slot for the 9th one, I just did the heart, and you saw me do the shamrock, and I ran that through a texture plate to give it some bumpiness, which I really like, and I'm double matting some and not double matting other things. And um, like as you can see, I'm already kind of like infringing upon that talk bubble line across the bottom of the title part, and it's only going to get worse, ladies, only going to get worse. So and I kind of go, okay, well, I like this, but I want to have kind of an even mat that goes around the 2 sides and the bottom. So in order to do that, I have to push it up some. And it's funny because there was just a second ago, there was kind of a hard break and everything shifted. I tutor in the afternoons, and my alarm clock went off saying that I had to tutor, and I left. And that 2014 was at the top, and I moved the 2014 to the bottom, and I like, all right, so these stickers don't stay very well. Like you would think after a day they might give you, some kind of issue coming off the page. Nope, they popped right off, which is kind of making me worry that, in another 5 years they're gonna be sitting down at the bottom of a page protector. I don't know if you just saw, but I tried to tug up the one picture of the car tracks in the snow, and I really had to twist and tug in order to get that off the page. So I feel much better about that actually sticking. So I've got to figure out how to overlap these pictures to keep it kitschy looking without saying which kid I like best. And then I'm going to pop dot this centerpiece. And it's kind of funny. I am a really slow scrapbooker, but with these pages, it's kind of funny because I feel like they don't matter. As far as I'm concerned, memory keeping wise, they're totally inconsequential to me. I'm not journaling. If this page gets thrown away, it doesn't matter. It's fine. And therefore, I feel really liberated to just do whatever. And if it looks like crud, who cares? Because, like I said, it's not consequential. So this was actually a leftover die cut from the last layout I did, and I do this a lot actually. Like I don't necessarily clean up my space 100%, so there'll be little things like that sitting close by, and I'll go, March is a windy month, I can put some clouds on there. So once I sprayed it and put some like lavendery glitter because I thought that was pretty, and it is actually, I decided that I was going to cover the whole thing up with glossy accents, and look, not exactly pleased with the way the glossy accent kind of blobbed out of it. And if you do this technique where you put glitter down and then cover it up with something else, let me know, because the standard thing that I've always used is glossy accents. It dries clear, and as someone else put it, it ends up looking like a sparkly 1970s bicycle seat, and I like that. And mostly I do it just to keep the glitter from, exploding all over everything else. But I'm wondering if like the Scotch Dry adhesive or Quick Dry adhesive would give a similar good look, or if it would just whatever. I did not add that to the final page, so I actually finished scrapbooking earlier this afternoon. Didn't like the way the glue had kind of flowed off into the negative space of the clouds, and so I didn't end up actually using it. I might go back and try to just use scissors to snip out where that glue traveled where it didn't belong, and then use it because it is kind of neat looking anyway. So now I'm just going through adding like little bits and bobbles. I stapled the little banner on there and adding a pop dot to the one side so that it sticks up a little bit. I like a little dimension. I think shadows are a good thing. I'm not going to go through my entire thing of flair because right on top was one that said Lucky Us, and I figured for March that makes a lot of sense. And there's a little bingo card that says real life. I actually cut this little circly thing for the last layout and didn't end up using it. Off camera, you can kind of see my hands going at the bottom. I'm threading some red and white baker's twine through one of the circles and just tying that into a knot. And I'm going to snip that down here in a second and slide that in underneath the side. So I'm just trying to add like little bits of texture for this. And when I was saying about how these are inconsequential, like I don't usually embellish like just, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Like because I'm not tense about what's going on, I feel really liberated just to do whatever. And if it looks terrible, it's okay. And the funny thing is it doesn't look terrible. But if this was a journaling where or a layout where I had journaling and it really meant something, I would be so much more conservative and so stifled in how I choose to embellish. And I wish I had this kind of like, oh, who cares kind of attitude all the time. But in fact, I don't. So, and about now, I think I pretty much call it quits. Oh no, I add some green washi tape. It's green and white. It shows up better in real life than it does on the video. But I get to this point and I go, okay, I think I'm done. And then I turned off the camera and I looked at it and I went, one more thing. Just walk over to, your shelves and find one more thing that you can put on here because you own all this stuff and you forget to use it all the time. And it really didn't take any, well, this is not what I'm talking about. This is, oh, I do love this math washi tape from, I think I got it from Freckled Fawn, and I just think it's the cat's meow. Anyway, at this point, this is when I feel like I'm done and okay, turn the camera off, walk away, come back. No, I lie. I decide to add a little bird die cut because the birds were one of the things that I like. Before I get started, before I turn on the camera, I do try to gather a bunch of things so that I'm not constantly walking away. And the bird dies were one of the things. And so I thought, oh, I did want to use that. So I'll just put like a little bird in there. I like the one bird that stands up, but I don't like, I think at first glance, it's hard to know that it's a bird that you're looking at from the backside. So I go with the more traditional looking bird and stick it on there. So this is when I walked away and I found my Simple Stories embellishment set or Brad set or whatever this is, and it's a clock and it's from a school set, and I really love the fact that I made myself walk away and find something because I think I spent more time watching the clock than the kids did. So I like the fact that that was added to it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.